We are here with a deadlift world record announcement. I will pull 505 kilos this year. We're going to tell you when, where, and how. Now, this is off the back of a 1,005 or 456 kilo pull I did in training this week with Loz. Literally the first session back in a suit.
Yeah, we're looking very, very good. It's the first time we've both agreed that we chase this record. In the past, we've had a few attempts at it. Last year was very good. I know you're going to talk about that, but there was no real plan to do it in terms of prep and goals for the year. This year, it's something we've both sat down, set out a plan, and we're going to make it happen.
Look, the reality is in my strongman career, there's not a lot that's left that means much to me. I've won literally everything. I've had a world record that's meaningful in the actual world record we set last year. But being the man in history to lift the most weight from the floor to your waist in probably the most common movement in gyms, that would be iconic. Now, we're going to talk about when exactly this is going to happen. But before we do, we've released 2 new hoodies with LHBK, the core hoodie and the slogan hoodie. You can go ahead and check that out in the YouTube shop or in the link down below. If you rock up to the show wearing that, you bet your ass I will sign that for you. Now, when is this going to happen? It is going to happen September 6th in Birmingham, England, the Giants Live Deadlift World Championships. Thor and I were trying to line up different dates and different locations. I am just going to cut it out and say, let's do it at the same place that Eddie did it, under the same circumstances, with the same conditions, and end this beef all in all. That's how you think it should be done as well, correct?
I totally agree. I'd love to see Thor come and do it as well. Whether he does or not, it's up to him. You know, I think you doing it, saying you're going to go for this record, maybe it'll entice him. We'll have to wait and see. However, we're not worried about Thor. We are focusing on Mitchell Hooper pulling 505. This year it happens. And, you know, with the way training's gone, we both feel very confident. In the past, when people approach this record, I've looked at training lifts. We've kind of thought maybe there's a 20% chance. I think we're looking at an 80% chance that Mitch can do this. It's nothing in this is ever a guarantee, but the way things have gone, the progression of your deadlift over the last few years, the things that we've implemented to make improvements, everything is kind of set up to make this happen. And I think that's the date to do it. Same bar, same kind of environment that Eddie did it in. Let's smash it.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about my attempts in the past. One of my first YouTube series that you guys can go back and watch is The Road to 505. I did this in 2023. And since I pulled 475 before I became a pro strongman and I got stronger, I figured logically that could carry me through to 505. And that was probably my worst deadlift performance ever. I pulled 1,000 and I missed 475 kilos to tie my personal best. Now, circumstances surrounding this, I got into the sport. I got invited to World's Strongest Man and the Deadlift World Champs. After I did well at World's Strongest Man, we got invites hot and heavy everywhere to every single contest. And at that point in my career, there were things that I hadn't even done before.
Well, in the last few years, how many shows? 24 total shows in a short period of time. It's just been nonstop, back to back. And we do have to look at competition. Sometimes we literally, with training with Mitch, we'd say, right, this Giants Live is a training session. Yeah. And that's not to say he doesn't take it seriously and try hard on the day, but it just means in terms of our prep, he's not focusing on that show. We pick certain shows where he's looking to be his best. And now we've obviously World's Strongest Man. We've got Strongest Man on Earth, which is a slight concern for this record.
We'll talk about that.
You know, these are the events that we look to be at his best. And this deadlift attempt is where we're looking to bring his best deadlifting.
And there are, to me, 2 really good pieces of evidence to give confidence that it will happen. And I know everyone watching this is sick and tired of people saying, I will, I will, I will. But I hope that I've gained a little bit of confidence from people that if I assess that I can do something, I am often right. The 2 pieces of evidence to me are, 1, the 1,000-pound deadlift, the first time in the suit from a few days ago. That probably could have been 480, 485 kilos, I would say, topped out. Now, just practice in the suit would get me close to 505. The second bit of confidence I have is last year, one of those shows that we said, I'm just going to turn up training session, see how it goes, is the Giants Live World Deadlift Championship that happened in Vegas. Now, I was very vocal in saying, I'm not that guy. I'm not doing that this year. I'm not prepped for it. I haven't tried. I did 2 sessions in a deadlift suit. The first session, I don't know if you remember this, the first session, I couldn't pull 400 because I was in back pain. Yeah. And the next day I went and I pulled 400 kilos. Okay, it felt good. Let's see what we got. I ended up pulling 475 kilos very easily, 470 kilos, I should say, very easy. And I got 505, I would argue, closer or as close as anyone has got.
Do you remember, you weren't sure about attempting the 505. And I said, let's try it to give us a realistic assessment of if it's possible.
Yeah.
And the agreement was that you focus on maintaining position off the floor, so you're not kind of, the hips aren't shooting up. And you got so close.
Yeah.
Your power off the floor was brilliant. You maintained position. We just didn't quite have enough at the knees to kind of get over and finish that lockout. We know what to address. We've kind of worked hard on lockout strength over the winter. Your partial deadlifts are looking ridiculous, which people will see leading up to World's Strongest Man anyway. The strength is there. The work's been put in. We need a little bit more technical work in the suit. That's something that the first session back kind of showed up. The raw power is tremendous right now. So it is very much going to be a little bit about getting comfortable in the suit again, because that is a thing. We're going to have to crank that down tight. But the power is there. A few more sessions. We've got a few more heavy sessions leading up to World's Strongest Man. There'll be a few heavy sessions going back down to the floor after that. But I believe it's there. It's now a matter of how do we navigate looking after you to the attempt.
Well, and a big part of that is going to be the strongest man on earth, which is trying to kill us. And that's 3 weeks before the Deadlift World Champs. I would say if there's anyone in the world who could recover in that 3 week span and be at 100%, it would be me.
Yeah.
This is barring injury, though.
Absolutely. And look, that will be the focus. You want to win that. But the focus at the strongest man on earth is not going to be about breaking records. It's going to be about maintaining energy through the whole show and picking up points. If we want to get this record, it's the way we have to look at it. If people go in and try and smash every single event at the strongest man on earth, their body is going to break down. You may see guys that smash a world record in event one and not finish the competition.
Yep.
That's not going to be our goal for this one. We're kind of publicly putting it out there. So if people watch Mitch maybe come third on the trap bar deadlift, you look at the deadlift that Mitch did at the Arnolds. You did enough to get second place. We didn't push Thor.
Yep.
We could have.
Yep.
Well, Mitch could have. I'm sitting at the side. I'm cheering him on, willing him to. But the goal was to win the competition once again.
Yep.
Thor was going for the elephant bar record. Unfortunately, didn't get it. But you did a very, very comfortable second lift. You had more in the tank. And that's what we're seeing from all of Mitch's deadlifts in recent times. Giants live comps where it's reps. He's not going to the tank. He's doing enough to pick up the points. At the Deadlift World Championships, we will go to the tank.
And let's talk about everyone who's gone to the tank in the past who said they're going to do it. We've had Ivan Makarov before. We've had Graham Hicks. I've said I'm going to do it before. Rauner said he's going to do it a handful of times. But ultimately, the deadlift world record at Giants Live has stood for 8 years. Thor's has stood for 5 years or so.
Yep.
So it's been a long time. What do you think has gone wrong in the past for the other guys?
A combination of things. I think, firstly, what Eddie did was very special. He took it to a completely new level in terms of where it was coming from. Now we're looking at 4 kilos on the record. Eddie put 35 kilos on the record. It was a tremendous lift. And what he did is now forced other guys to get better. And guys have. They maybe haven't broken it, but they've brought their level up. I think a few guys have gone too heavy too soon in training when it's come to this. And too heavy too close. Like someone like Makarov, he's a great deadlifter, but he's constantly trying to just chase this record rather than maybe address the weaknesses. He's got very, very good lockout power, but around the knee area, it's where he kind of struggles.
Of course.
And he uses, in my opinion, an easier bar to get that flex out of the bar.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that you've had to train for so many different deadlifts is actually very beneficial for this record. Yeah. I think we've had guys that could push it. Graham Hicks looked amazing in training. I think a few things went wrong for him leading up to the show. And this is a monumental feat we're asking for these people. So, it's not a given for anyone. But I do believe with Mitch, we have the best opportunity now to see it happen. I'd love Thor to get involved because I think he's another guy that potentially could make it happen. You two pushing each other would be fun. But he doesn't look like he's going to attempt it at this event. So it's down to you, my friend.
So why is it, in your opinion, that I am 120-ish pounds lighter than Thor and Eddie when they did it, but there's still a reasonable chance?
Well, just the numbers that you're lifting now. Your power output is tremendous. You're a bit of a freak. You're not the 400-pound athlete, but you do. If you look at Mitch's physique, he's not bodybuilder-like. He doesn't have extremely wide lats. But when you look at his lower body, it's a huge amount of muscle in the quads, the hamstrings, the glutes, and these are the muscles. And his erectors actually on his back as well. These are the muscle groups that are necessary for big deadlifts. The bodybuilding type physique may be good for strict pressing and kind of machine movements, but not as efficient in terms of pure power. Your athleticism, your ability to kind of carry big weights, to adapt to different types of lifts. You're built very, very well to lift weight off the floor. You're kind of built for purpose, if you like, to be a strength athlete. That's what you've focused on from the start. And as I said, like the leg power, the lower body power, the back power, that's where you excel. Lifting weights off the ground is something you're very, very good at. Continue to improve over the last few years, and now's the time to make this lift happen. I know we can go into the specifics, and the training program, our hard training has been done. Now it's more just microfining, like little movements, little foot positions in the suit. First, like I said earlier, the first session back in the suit, feet were slightly off. We need to get a bit better into the straps, but the power is there.
You think the power is there right now?
I do. I believe the power is there. I think we need a little bit of just technical practice and confidence from hopefully these partials that we do leading up to Worlds. I think are going to really help, because that'll give you that confidence you can handle that weight.
Yeah.
And then it's a matter of navigating one or two competitions, getting you through those as safely as possible, and then I believe it can happen. Those are all big ifs, because anything can happen, but I do believe you are strong enough to do this. And you know me, I've told you in the past, no, I don't think you're ready for it.
Yep.
This is the first year I've said, I believe you can do it.
Well, when I pulled 475 kilos back in 2022, before any of you had heard of my name, the best 18-inch deadlift I ever did was 485 kilos. My 18-inch and my max raw deadlift, or my max floor deadlift, they are close to each other. And I've pulled some very easy deadlifts at 470 kilos. I'm going to pull 500 kilos for reps from 18 inches before World's Strongest Man happens. And these are really good pieces of evidence that 505 is going to happen this year. Loz says 80% chance. I trust his word, because he's told me many times, you can't do that. That is not reasonable. That's not possible. Let's aim for this instead. His word means something, which is a great thing as a person and a great thing when we're backing this record. So I know a number of people have said this before. I know. But this year, it is going to happen, barring injury. And you can still get tickets. Down in the description, we'll put the tickets to the Giants live show. We're going to make history. We're going to end this beef of 8 years between Thor and Eddie. And I can hold the legitimate, uncontested, no questions asked deadlift world record. And that could be the greatest moment in my strongman career. As per usual, lift heavy, be kind. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel and subscribe to Loz's channel for pure strongman content. We'll link that down in the description as well. Until tomorrow, lift heavy and be kind.